Hopefully this video will be short, but I'm recording this line before I record the video, so here we go. This is GMK Art, an upcoming group buy due in July. It's an off-white set with some unique mods, namely a lot of notable public domain art. Vermeer, Munch, Van Gogh, Michelangelo. It's a nice set. I'm very interested in it. However, there is one glaring issue that no one, especially the set designer, seems to care about. This is GMK Art's Deskmats. It's available in two colors, black with off-white text and off-white with black text. It's been extremely well received by the community, with each posting on the RMK subreddit consistently amassing thousands of upvotes. It's a unique and ironic take on the consumeristic culture that is Metkeys, except that it's not unique. Allow me to explain. This is Morons, a series of 6 prints made in 2006 by the infamous quote, street artist, unquote, Banksy. You may notice something similar in this piece. The focal point of the print is this quote, "I can't believe you morons actually buy this shit," for which the print is eponymously named after. Now let me show you something. On the screen currently is the black version of the Deskmat. My point is better illustrated on the other color, but it'll work just as fine. Here's a crop of the art piece. Here's the crop sized up and rotated to the left by a few degrees. Here's the resized crop with the colors inverted, and then with the paint splattering cleaned. I hope by now you can start to see my point. I decided to ask the set designer about his decision to use Banksy's art verbatim in a commercially available and mass-produced product. His response was, "The whole GMK art set is related to art, and I will admit that Banksy was my inspiration when creating the Deskmats. In my opinion, he brilliantly captured the irony of modern art, which also applies to our hobbies, on which some of us spend a lot of money. I do not intend to take advantage of the artist's fame, and the sentence itself cannot be copyrighted. As I wrote before, the whole thing is handwritten, not copied directly from Banksy's work. Thank you for your concern. I talked with my legal counselor, and we are certain that everything is fine as it is." Now there's 3 important takeaways from his response. The first is, the sentence itself cannot be copyrighted. And he's right. Copyright does not apply to names, titles, slogans, or short phrases. It does, however, apply to artwork. This leads me to his second point. As I wrote before, the whole thing is handwritten, not copied directly from Banksy's work. Okay, back to the art. If we look closely at the Deskmat, you can see that it is indeed rewritten with a static-sized brush. However, if I overlay the original art with his, quote, handwritten, unquote, version, and realign the letters to adjust for his kerning, I think you can all agree with me that this is far from a recreation or new interpretation. You can see he's copied exact design elements over from the print, like the canted forms of the U's in you and by, or the brushstroke aberrations like the A in can't. I mean, that's a little blatant. Not only that, but if you haven't noticed by now, the colors are exactly the same. Can you copyright a color? No. But what about taking key design elements and color choices from famous art pieces? Anyway, I don't want to harp on the imitation portion too long, as I think the work speaks for itself. The last point is this, and it's maybe the one that upsets me the most. I talked with my legal counselor, and we are certain that everything is fine as it is. Now, I don't like conjecture, so I want to emphasize that I'm saying this as such. I tried to get in contact with 2 separate IP lawyers to discuss the legality of this. They were both extremely gracious, and one was fairly enthusiastic to hear about it since he's actually part of the subreddit. But the moment I mentioned or showed this exact line to both of them, they both ghosted me. A non-IP lawyer acquaintance of mine informed me later that there being a possible legal presence in the matter made their counsel a complex matter. The conjecture portion of my point is that, in a way, I feel that he explicitly mentioned this to deter any possible inquiry from other parties besides Banksy's own legal team, which I can assure you aren't going to bother with something of this size. Here are my closing points. Banksy's art is both copyrighted and trademarked. He successfully sued business entities over the illicit use of his work. Of course, like all big businesses, he doesn't give 2 flying fucks about small fry vendors using it. The effort to monetization ratio is too low. That's not my point. My point is that it's immoral to steal art and blatantly pass it off as your own without even crediting the artist. Beyond comments in his Reddit posts pointing out the origin and his response to me, he thus far has not credited the original artist. Even beyond the crediting, he shouldn't be using someone else's artwork so directly in the first place. Now you might think, well hey, it's a famous Banksy piece. There's probably thousands of copies out there. Alright, well take a look at this. This is a Google search result for the quote in the piece. As you can see, it's all Banksy. Here's a Google search of the quote before 2006, the creation of the piece. There's only 3 search results, and it turns out they're all references to Banksy's piece, and the sites are misdated from bad coding. Now let's go back to the Google image search and remove Banksy references from the search with Google keywording. I'm not sure if you noticed, but all these pictures are still Banksy, except for GMK Art. Literally the only notable search result when you look up his quote without his name in it. Beyond that, let me pitch you this short hypothetical. This is GMK Future Funk's Deskmat. It was one of the most popular Deskmats of 2020, and the set designer commissioned an artist to design the artwork for it. Now the set designer for GMK Art's core argument is that he hand wrote the Deskmat art. I think I've sufficiently shown that he effectively traced it, so the statement should be that he made minor but insignificant modifications to the original artwork. Conversely, if I take Future Funk's artwork and make what I consider more significant modifications and sell it as my own Deskmat, would that be alright? I don't know. I suppose that's for you guys to decide. My final thoughts are then as follows. We should hold set designers accountable for stealing the work of others, and we should hold set designers accountable for thinking the consumer is stupid enough not to recognize the theft in the first place. We publicly shame set runners all the time for taking off with group buy money or not fulfilling their product, and this should be no different. This is my way of imploring the set designer to redesign the mat with his own work and not lazily snatch the work of others for his own profit, no matter how much popular reception it's received. That's it.